What's going on, people? CP3, live from the lab, week 13, Redskins, Cowboys. Ugly loss, terrible loss. Hashtag Bill Callahan for OC. If you tuned in for the halftime hot takes, you heard the way I felt about Jay and these play calls and the way that he's calling this game and using these players. The defense balled out in the first quarter. 3 3-and-outs in a row. Offense couldn't do nothing. You had a whole week to prepare. A whole week. You didn't play since Thanksgiving. And they came out flat. Why didn't he come out in the 3 tight end set? Why? It was effective against the Giants in the second half. It was 0-0 going into the second quarter before all of those turnovers changed the momentum and complexion of that game. How long are we going to make excuses for Jay Gruden? How long are we not going to hold this man to the fire? Now, I mentioned before when Mike Shanahan was here, a man who had 2 Super Bowls, when his offense didn't click, they brought in Al Saunders. They brought in somebody else. I can't even remember his name because he was retired for so long. And this is a proven coach. But yet and still, Jay doesn't get questioned once. Sean McVay left. Last year, top 5 offense. This year with the Rams, top offense. Redskins, middle of the pack offense. Why is nobody asking him what's going on with the offense? He's supposed to be this offensive coordinator guru. We already let him slide on the developing the quarterback thing because Kurt has been playing well and developing into a top NFL quarterback. But what about the other part that he's supposed to fulfill of his contract and making this offense a top offense? It's utterly ridiculous that he gets away with this bull. And yeah, Crowder, he had to drop the led to an interception. He fumbled the punt. Kurt had another interception and a fumble. Jay didn't do those things. Correct. Those things happen on the field. But it goes from preparation. It goes from being ready to come out there and play and execute. And they didn't do that at all. And normally I don't jump out there and say that the Redskins should win the game. I jumped out there earlier because I didn't see no way that the Redskins would lose this game unless, if you tuned into the pregame, I said the only way the Redskins would lose this game is if they didn't stick with the run and they turned the ball over. And what did they do? They turned the ball over and didn't stick with the run. I just don't get it. I'm going to get to some of these comments, man. I'm ready to go in tonight. Ken, I know you watching. If you want to come on, hit the button, bro. I know you got to get some stuff off of your chest, too. Hurt, I know I tagged you in. If you come on, more than welcome. Anybody. I got to get this shit off my chest, man. Kendra said we didn't want this game. Play calling and execution proved that. True. Don said we stink. What's up, Don? I can't argue with that logic. I mean, the defense played well for the most part until they got worn down. I mean, they was out there playing their ass off, forcing the action, but the offense couldn't do nothing. And then once the momentum of the Dallas Cowboys offensive line got going, it wasn't nothing they can do. Richard said, hey, man, eyes don't rarely open up, man. I'm chinky by nature. What can I do? They said, Ken said they left the Redskins in Ashburn and sent the local flag football team to play. Yeah, on offense, at least that's what it looked like. Like I said, the defense played well. This goes into my speech last week about folks for throwing the defense under the bus for giving up 15 points in 3 minutes or whatever. But the offense still had a chance to win the game, and nobody held Jay to the fire about that. They just wanted to talk about the defense not being effective. That's what I'm getting tired of. Somebody has to hold it. I actually sent Diane Cheeseborough, the USA Today reporter, I sent her some questions to ask Jay at their press conference. And I'm hoping that she gets a chance to ask them, and I'm hoping that she records it. Because I want to hear his explanation. I'm not going to tell the questions right now because I'm going to wait to see if she get a chance to ask them. But I'm going to send the screenshot of the questions, and I'm going to send the video if she's able to send it to me. And y'all can understand some of my frustrations. Let's see. Joe said, let's be honest, what he's going on offense, bro, what we have on offense, drop, pass, and fumble, and gave away momentum, all the injuries. I mean, everybody has injuries, man. We had injuries last week. We lost all our offensive linemen again last week, and we still found a way to win. Because what? We went to the 2 tight end set, we ran the ball, we used play action, and Jay actually made some quality adjustments. This week, he shit the bed again. This is what he does. He'll give you glimpses of, yeah, this is what this team can be. But then he goes in the total opposite direction the following week. He doesn't stick to it. This team has no identity. They don't know who they are. Are they a passing team? Are they a running team? Are they a screen team? Are they a pulling team? Are they a power team? They don't know because Jay don't know. Because he wants to be a pass, even though that's not what we're built for. Richard said, fire Gruden. Like I said, I don't even want him to fire because then you're going to have a new coach come in. It's going to want new personnel. You got people under contract. By the time the rebuild in the 3-4 years go by, those contracts going to be up, and the time the players you have going to want to roll, and then you got to start all over again. Make them the figurehead like Jason Garrett. Stand there, look stupid at the podium. Let Bill Callahan run the offense. Let Greg Minuski run the defense, and he can stand there and look stupid. James said 3 turnovers and a punt return for TV in the first half. We find ways to lose. You said it exactly right. This was a game that they shouldn't have lost. They found a way to lose it and gave Dallas momentum and, you know, got that whole crowd and got them feeling all good. So y'all know everybody, all the Redskins fans that was talking trash today, y'all know y'all going to hear it. That's why I don't talk trash. I wait till the game is over and go from there. Brian said, worst game of the year. I can agree with that, definitely. Kendra said we shouldn't have lost. They just came to play and we didn't. Agree 100%. Is they get them out? She said, get the yours, you grant. Hey, man. You more than welcome to come on, Joe. If you got an iPhone, hit the invite button. I'll bring you on, man. Oh, you said you can't get on, Ken. Why you sleeping? All right, I can dig it, man. Coach, the play calling has always been suspect. You know, we've been talking about that from last year. Well, I know I have. When Sean was taking over and they ran into a lull and Jay said he was going to put more of his input on it. You can see the subtle changes in the way the offense ran last year. And if you look at the Rams, Sean is basically running the same offense he ran here, and they're leading the league. Granted, they have a proven running back, but wide receivers were questionable, the offensive line was questionable, but he's finding ways to get it done. And he had a questionable quarterback that was a second-year guy that didn't look that good. Scott says time to rebuild, GM down. Well, I mean, injuries, the team is improving because we spoke about this last week adamantly, that the team is improving because we can see that the players that are on this team that are getting cut are getting picked up by other teams. Now, we've had players get cut and go work at McDonald's for the rest of their career because nobody else wanted because they were washed up and we just gave them a chance. But the team is improving. It's, you know, it comes to preparation. It's not just all about X's and O's. It's everything. It's the week of practice. You heard them talk about Dallas practice on Sunday. You know Jay soft ass didn't have them guys in there practicing on Sunday. That's what it comes down to. He wants to be everybody's friend. He wants to be a player's coach. But you got to crack the whip. That's why I like Mike Shanahan. A lot of people didn't like him, but he was old school and he did things, you know, somewhat the right way. Brian said offense, special teams, the defense. Defense did play well for a while. Overall, worst game of the year. Agreed. Damian said soft coach, soft team. No, I can't say a soft team. The team been fighting all year. We've, you know, this is the worst loss of the season point-wise. But they've been in mostly every game for the most part. They've been playing, you know, injured. Backups been coming in, playing solid. It's just execution. And like I say, preparation and the lack of strategy on Jay's part, I feel, plays a lot into what's going on. Coach said he still wouldn't fight Dez. I ain't worried about Dez. If he got to slap his mama, you ain't even got to worry about him putting hands on nobody else. Yeah, Daniel said just playing shit tonight. Yeah, I feel let down too. I normally don't get emotionally involved in the games or whatever, but I honestly thought there was no way for the Skins to lose this game, but unfortunately they found a way. Richard said in big games, the team never looked prepared. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. Coach said, what's up with Vernon Davis? Just like last week, they didn't use him enough. The week before, he was a key role. This week, he got the ball a little bit, but then they went away from him again. Jay going to the 3 and 4 wide receiver set. You know, when Vernon's in there in those situations, he's the 3rd or 4th option. So when they go to the 2 tight end set, or at least the 2 wide receiver 2 tight end set, you know, Vernon's the 3rd option, the 2nd option sometimes, so he gets the ball more often. And he's like a security blanket for Kurt. So, I don't know, man. You know, this is just me talking. Like I said, I talked to Diane. Hopefully she gets to ask some of the questions that I sent her, and we can get some of the answers to some of these questions straight from Jay himself. Robert said, represent the team for life, win or lose. No doubt. Same here, baby. I ain't never going to waver. I'm always going to be a fan. It's in my blood, baby. Can't do it. Damn, Deion says fire the whole front office and run Dan Snyder the hell out of here. That's another thing. Dan Snyder ain't done nothing in the last 10 years but open his wallet and say, what do y'all need to win? First impressions I know are lasting. He was a dick when he got here. He didn't know what he was doing. But the past 8 to 10 years, that man ain't done nothing wrong. Y'all got to just relax, man. It's a building movement. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You can't go from 25 years of being mediocre to all of a sudden everything works out perfectly and, you know, everything goes back into the glory days and all of that. You're going to have some hiccups. So firing everybody ain't got us nowhere before. So sometimes you got to make adjustments, move people here. That's why Scott's gone now. Bruce is there. They might bring somebody else in, but firing everybody don't solve anything. Damien said he's not a head coach. I totally agree he's not. But when you go to the personnel, salary cap and all of that to bring in somebody new, his contract, he's still going to get paid if they fire him with the extension that he got. So you might as well ride it out, man. That's why I say let Bill Callahan take over the play calling duty. Still uses offense, but let Bill call the plays. And everything should be good, cool. Joe said we didn't get down by 17 either. I mean, the fact that whenever we go down by double-digit points, Jay goes pass. Simple as that. What's going on, Remy? Richard said why not get Vernon Davis involved? I don't know, man. He's been effective. He's been key in a lot of games this year, key in victories. I don't even know, man. We are running back number 4. Yeah, I mean, Perrine came back, but once they didn't get that score in the 3rd quarter and Jay didn't really go with running the ball and started passing, it became ineffective, man. It became ineffective. Brandon said that sound like, hey, man, it is what it is, man. Hey, thanks, Robert. Let's get the hashtag going. Bill Callahan for OC, man. We gotta let these folks know. Y'all frustrated as I am. Y'all tired of mediocrity. It ain't always about firing people. Sometimes you just gotta make adjustments and you know, make things work. You can't always rebuild and start all over, then you complain about our team sucking again. The team is a decent team. We just had a whole bunch of injuries that we haven't seen before. And, you know, unfortunately, as I've said over and over again, good coaching puts you over the top. Bad coaching holds you back. I'll leave it at that. Let's see. We need a new coach with some toughness. Yeah, I agree. We need some old school coach. That's Bill Callahan is an old school coach. That's why I want him to be the offensive coordinator to get more of that old school mentality in there, not this arena league football pass mentality that Jay has. Joe said, what's up with Jordan Reed? Yeah, I've mentioned about Jordan Reed before. Joe, I know this is your first time tuning in, but I'll break it down again. Jordan Reed was a quarterback going into Florida. So technically he's only been a tight end for 9 seasons now. So he hasn't been used to getting hit by these linebackers and safeties like he had. So people say he's soft. Yeah, he is, because he's not used to getting hit. But the fact whenever he's on the field, he causes a mismatch and causes the defense to have to worry about him even if he's healthy or not. There's been drives where he's been on the field, on game-winning drives that Kurt has, that he hasn't caught one pass. But the fact that he's out there, they have to still respect him being out there. So he signed his extension, but the season, you know, where it is now, maybe they'll put him on IR, give him a chance to be 100% going into the next year. Maybe he try to come back and play the rest of the year. Who knows? But I say put him on IR, See what Sprinkle got. Let Vernon Davis play. Let Niles Paul play. We deep at tight end. Ain't no reason to add no insult to injury. He's already banged up. Let him get healthy for next year and see what happens. Richard said if they don't resign Kurt, then fire Gruden and start all over. It's not just, it's beyond the quarterback, though. We have skill at positions that you just willing to throw all that skill away and rebuild. That makes that makes no sense to me. I can't agree with that one, Richard. I just can't agree with that one. Brian said he don't know because he doesn't know half of the players. He said, really, this is a lost season with a roster turnover due to injuries. Yeah, that's why I mentioned on the show last week, folks talking about the playoff run and trying to run the table. I'm like, that would be cool, but this team has holes. This team has injuries. This team isn't a playoff team, so I'm tired of that one and done in the first round, and then, it's over, you get a top 20 pick, and then, we trying to trade up to get a playmaker to try to fill one of the holes that we knew we already had. I just say, play hard. Unfortunately, this game wasn't an example of that. Last game was. Hopefully they can bounce back. They got, some days off before they got to play again. So hopefully they can come out and rebound from this bad showing that they just put on national television. Justin said he missed McVay. Yeah, I do too. I took him for granted while he was here, but I damn sure miss him now more than ever. James said it doesn't matter how good we look on paper. If we play the Cowboys, regardless who they on the roster, we find a way to make them look great. Yeah, we play down to our competition or play up to it. Unfortunately, that's some of the growing pains of having a mix of veterans and young guys that we're playing some rookies. So it happens, man. It happens. Kent says 4 turnovers. That's terrible. Agree. Lamont said what's going on with Crowder's hands. Crowder, he's a good player, but then I think he gets too hyped up and he moves too fast. Like if you saw on some of the screens in the first half last week, the blockers were set up, but because he wanted to get going, he outran his blockers and got tackled when he could have broken for a bigger game. I think he was so anxious to make plays in this game that he was too hyped. I've seen it before with players that, they had so caught up in the moment, especially coming off of his best receiving game as a pro. I mean, he wanted to make an impact. Live TV, national television. Unfortunately, it's a thin line between being pumped for a game and over-pumped and costing your team. Unfortunately, it cost the team this week, and hopefully he can bounce back next game. He tried to make an impact in the second half. He made a couple of good catches, but it's too little too late after those 2 turnovers. Joe said, we here because we just got beat the fuck up. Just get Kurt the money. Sad we have to pay him more this season, maybe more next year. It's not sad. It's market value. He's a quality quarterback, and we've been looking for a quality quarterback for how many years now? So, I mean, look how many teams still don't have a quarterback. We have one. Let's pay him, keep him in here, and build more talent around him and build up a defense like we've been doing, like we started to do, and continue to make the team get better. Brandon said we got a squad. I like to tell people we're not the sorriest team. We just the wackest team. They play hard, but it comes down to inches and coaching, and we don't put our players in the right position to succeed. Yeah, that's a pretty fair assessment, Brandon. I can't argue with any of those points, man. I can't argue with any of those points. Man, Richard, leave me alone, man. let me be in my zone, man. Let me be in my zone. Kendrick said McVay believes in accountability and holds his players to those standards, and they respond in a positive manner. Gruden is just lost passing blame, and his house obviously has no mirrors. Amen, brother. Amen. I say the same thing. Do you think DJ Swear is saying they're not practicing? That's a coach's decision. Jason Garrett and them, they went out there even though they were injured. I mean, you have to have enough bodies. So that's a coach's decision. I would rather they at least get some practice, a walkthrough, film study, something. So I don't know. I'm not watching the post games. I don't want to even hear what Jay has to say. I'm going to wait to hear from Diane if she got a chance to ask my questions and go from there. James says so many injuries. Our defense kept us in most of the games. Some of Gruden's play calling is very questionable. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Brian said we beat up right now. Yeah, I know, Brian. I know, but we were beat up last week too. I know the Giants, are a bad team, but we were tied at halftime, found a way to win. Same thing could have happened here. We were down, could have came back, a couple of good drives in the third. The defense got to stop in the third, but offense couldn't do nothing. And that's been the story of the whole season. The defense have gotten turnovers several games in the opponent's red zone. Offense got nothing. Telly says you can't be a head coach and offensive coordinator. Well, you can, but you have to be good. I mean, you got guys like Mike McCarthy who was, but he gave up play calling duties. So you can do it for a while, but folks tend to get your tendencies. And unfortunately, Jay is so predictable. Folks already know what he's going to do. So that's why I would love to have Bill Callahan calling some plays. That's one of the questions I asked them. I asked Diane, asked him, is when is Bill Callahan going to start assisting in play calling? Because obviously his play calling isn't getting it. Bernard said they suck bad. Yeah, that's a pretty fair assessment, man. James agreed to give play calling to Callahan. Like I said, man, get that hashtag trending, man. Whenever you on Twitter or on Facebook, man, hashtag Bill Callahan for OC, man. I've been pushing this for a couple of weeks now. I feel it, man. Let's get this thing going, man. I can't deal with this no more. Telly says Bruce Allen needs to be fired. I can't agree with that. I've said before, this man has fixed the salary cap, got quality players in here that's actually playing. We're drafting better, even though it's Scott's playbook, but he still implemented it and still executed it. You can't keep on firing everybody and expecting a good result, man. It's not going to happen. You have to have continuity. You have to have, chemistry. You have to have things, work together. You can't keep on expecting chemistry and keep on changing pieces all the time. It's not going to work. Not going to work. Said, how can a relationship go good if you don't want to commit? Talking about the QB. If you don't want him, let him go. I have a plan. I don't care either way. I kind of feel the same way, Gasly. I don't care what happens. I just want the whole thing resolved. Kurt has the leverage. Kurt is the best quarterback for this team right now. Nobody's going to come in and be able to run Jay's offense the way Kurt can. So, as I said earlier, I hope they do pay him because he's the best option we have right now. Brian says, does Callahan even want the duty? I remember in the offseason saying he didn't want the position. At this point, the way Jay is, you have to say things like that because Jay is scared of anybody that can possibly take his job. McVay. Remember the same thing happened when McVay took over the play calling duties. Jay still wanted to make sure folks knew that I still have input on the play calls. So Jay is an insecure egomaniac, man. If y'all haven't seen that by now, with him throwing people under the bus when we lose, but when we win, he at the podium with his chest poked out, answering all the questions. Y'all got to see that, man. You can't keep on grazing over that. That's real shit. Yeah, the injuries are a bit much for success. Yeah, like I said, we're not. I don't feel we're a playoff team. I just feel that this team can play tough and still end up with an 8-8, 9-7 record, even if we miss the playoffs. So be it. But it's about progress. And if you can't see the team progressing in certain aspects, even though certain aspects they're not, it's all about timing and getting everything together. Bernard said Kurt doesn't have enough weapons. They got to get playmakers for Kurt. Well, I mean, sometimes you got to develop your playmakers. I mean, we saw Maurice Harris make a hell of a catch a couple of weeks ago against Minnesota. We see Josh Doxson developing chemistry and going up and getting the ball with him. We've seen Crowder last week had 7 catches, 141 yards. You're not going to develop these players if you keep on bringing in free agents, in their late 20s, early 30s to come in here to supposed to be a playmaker, and then you got this young talent that's not that much money on the salary cap that you have time to develop, then what's the point? Everybody always says, why do we have players that don't do well here and go other places and excel? Because they get playing time. Because we fall in love with the big name or fall in love with the player that he used to be, and we don't let the young guys come in and they go other places and they flourish. We have to start developing our own talent, man. You can't keep on depending on free agency. They said that from the brick. Scott said that, and Bruce said that. Jair said, I hope I said that right. I think if we have a healthier line, we would be better. That man was running for his life, but that's no excuse for the defense letting Morris run all over them. Well, the defense was worn out. You recall the first half, the defense had Dallas, reeling. Dak went out because he got hit on a zone read play. So the defense was playing. They just got worn down. And you got to remember, even though they're injured, that's still the best offensive line in football. Alfred Morris is not a slouch. You know, he put up over 1,500 yards for us. So, I mean, he's still a quality running back. He just doesn't catch the ball well out of the backfield. So, I mean, injuries on every team. Our O-line with the 3 tight end set was effective last week. Could have been effective this week. Said just chiming in, but why wasn't Norman locked down on Dez? With the lack of pressure that we've been able to get, we don't run as much man as they were beginning of the season. So we've been running a lot more man zone coverage. So when you running more man zone, you don't have the man shadow him. And he was on Breland. I mean, ain't like Dez went off. The last game he only had 4 catches for 39 yards. This game I didn't check the stat lines, but he had the 1 touchdown. Yeah, he broke the record for the Cowboys wide receiver. Yeah, he's been trying to do that for the last 4 weeks. So be it, you know, he didn't make a major impact on the game. The major impact on the game was turnovers and lack of execution on the offense's part. Simple as that. Del Ray says start McCoy next week. Nah, because they already said they want to see what Kurt got to proven in the last 5 games. If you put Cole in, how you going to know what you're going to do with Kurt? You got to let the man play and see what's going to happen and see if he can, you know, win these last couple of games, even if they miss the playoffs, but you want to end on a high note. Jason said they did not put Norman on Bryant. I mean, he was on him off and on, but Bryant didn't really have a big impact on the game. He had, you know, a touchdown late, but for the most part, he was a non-factor. Yeah, sign Kurt and drafting the offensive lineman and defense. That's what I say. That's what I say on the show Monday night. I totally agree with that. He said, we're in to win it. Just didn't happen tonight. I'll be at work with my head up tomorrow. That's cool, Robert. I mean, yeah, they're going to end it to win it, but, you know, it is what it is. The playoffs, you know, was a long shot anyway. So, I mean, this is a team that's getting better, that's rebuilding, that's growing. That's all I want to see, man. I want to see them get better. Phil says build around Kurt. Yeah, they pretty much have, you know, developing talent. Josh Doxson, you know, Pryor, unfortunately, he's gone for the season. He could have maybe, you know, started getting better towards the end. Jordan Reed hasn't been healthy all season. You know, Vernon Davis has played well. Crowder, he wasn't healthy at the beginning of the season, but he's been playing decent until this 2 turnover performance he put out today. It's amazing that he has 6 fumbles at the wide receiver spot. That's amazing. Lawrence says they'll be playing backups against starters. In fact, third stringers. Yeah, I mean, it was the same thing last week and the week before that. So, I mean, it is what it is. You got to play with the people that's on your roster. That's where your player development and your scouting department comes in. That's where they do their job, where they're not just signing people to sign them, where that if they got to play, they need to be NFL quality players and go out there and bust their ass and do what need to be done. So injuries is no excuse. Injuries is part of the game. They all know that. We all know that. Everybody's hurt. Nobody's 100% right now. It's week 13. Everybody's taking cortisone shots. Everybody's taking ice baths. Everybody's got dislocated this or jammed that or hurt this. So the injuries, you can't use that as a crutch, man. You can't. Mike said we'll be fine next season. We need to beef up our O-line, be more physical, and get some D-backs that can tackle. Get rid of Breland and Laval. Laval, I agree on. Breland, if we get more pressure from the defense, then Breland is more of a man corner. I've said this over and over again. He is not a zone corner. Josh can play man and zone because that's his technique. Breland was a man, aggressive cornerback in college. That's what he's bred to do. When you run zone because you can't get pressure because of our D-line isn't effective because we have injuries, our linebackers are injured, so we're not getting the same pressure we were getting. Therefore, your corners and safeties cannot cover for as long, especially when you have rookie safeties out there and hybrid linebackers. So, therefore, you have to use more zone in certain situations. Breland is a good cornerback. Everybody wants to always throw people away. Kendall Fuller's playing well, but he's more of a slot. They haven't put him out there on the outside. So you don't know what you're getting. So you can't bank on that. So just relax. Everybody wants to get rid of folks. But I agree with everything else. We got to get more physical. And we got to keep adding to the D. We had 5 out of 8 draft picks was defense last year. I don't remember the Redskins doing that in a long time. So they do that again this year, and I think this team will be a lot better. Phillips says, with all the injuries we have on the O-line, I feel that we be doing good. Running felt like we got pass happy. That's Jay's formula. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Brandon said, now watching the postgame, they even need better conditioning, less injuries, faster turnaround on minor injuries. But nope, we beat our Bulls like Moses and Williams until they're basically praying with the heart and dead bodies. I mean, those guys want to play. You know, Moses tried to tough it out all season, and it had both his ankles been bad, knees been bad, back been bad. But these are professional athletes with pride, and they're going to want to play. And, you know, injuries, like I said, Jay's soft training camp, I think, lead to a lot of these injuries. And now that the Gruden is running the conditioning, I don't know. This dude wasn't proven. He's a family member of the Grudens, a nephew or some shit. So, I don't know. Durrell says we need a nose tackle. Yeah, I was hoping Philip Taylor would be there. He got hurt. Jonathan Allen was playing well. He got hurt. They say it's a possibility he might come back week 15. I hope they don't, because that Liz Frack, you don't want to mess with him when it comes to the feet and defensive line. I say let him just go ahead and rock and roll, come back in fresh next year. Andre says still hell to the Redskins win or lose. Hell yeah, same here. Toda said they'll take a new coach. Like I already said, I don't even want to start that rebuilding all over. Evan said, I love Zach Brown. Same here. I hope we can sign him long-term also. Terry says, right now I don't see progress, see regression. I mean, in some aspects, yeah, you do see regression with the clock management. Kurt's taking some bad sacks, but it attributes to the injuries. But, I mean, you have to look at the defense getting 3 and outs. The offense, you know, finally getting some rhythm. Josh Doxson getting some chemistry with Kurt, starting to use his vertical leap and use the reasons why they drafted him as a top draft pick. You know, you see Jamison Crowder was getting back into the chemistry he had with Kurt at the end of last year. Unfortunately, he had this terrible game. So, I mean, Jordan Reed's been out. So, I mean, it hasn't been a full cast of characters, so you really can't give a full assessment on a full team, you know, thinking of the progress aspect. But I understand your point, man. Kendra said we don't deserve the playoffs. We just aren't ready, don't have the necessary leadership to succeed. I agree with that to a point. Lauren said if Kurt don't have the players, how's Kurt getting his stats? Now, he has players. I mean, the offense can move. He has players. It's just unfortunately the yards that he's getting most of the time are garbage yards at the end of the game when we're already out of games and the losses. Now, when we're winning and the offense is clicking and Jay has an effective game plan, then, yeah, he gets those yards, but you got to look at those stats from the games that we've lost. He gets a lot of those yards in the, you know, end of the fourth quarter when the game is already, you know, not winnable and the defense is playing prevent. So, I mean, we got players. It's just, you know, having to develop them. Let's see. Darrell says 8-8. Yeah. Coach C said let's talk draft, linemen, and wide receivers. I mean, you can always draft a wide receiver, but you got to develop the players you got. They still got players on the practice squad that they drafted last year. You got 6 wide receivers on the squad now. You know, Terrell Pryor, they might re-sign it, they might not. We're going to see how that play out. So, it's all good, man. We just got to ride the rest of the season out before we start looking at the next season to see what happens, You never know. I mean, you know, somebody can step up, somebody can click for them late in the season, and they could, you know, start getting it. Who knows? Coach Steve said playoffs. You want to talk about playoffs? Nah, I really don't. I don't want us to make the playoffs. Oh, damn. Ken, my bad. I ain't even see you. I've been reading on. Jarrell said we're going 9-7. At least we'll be a winning season. Yeah, winning season is cool. You know, 8-8, 9-7. I'm happy either way. What up, Ken? What's going on, man? I'm going long tonight. I'm not even going to lose no sleep writing an article about this debacle tonight. What you got? I know you got some stuff to get off your chest. What's going on with you tonight, fam?
I had to come outside. I got to work in the morning, but I had to come outside for this. I'm sorry y'all can't see me, but for this and this.
Yes, sir.
This team just drove me to drink on a school night. You hear me? Now, first off, there's a Bama that was in your comments talking about the Redskins were bummed since day one. I want to mark that Bama for spam and have him take a long walk off the Wilson Bridge. Okay? That's number one. That's number one. Number two, this is by far the worst game that this team has played all season long, and at the wrong time of the year. This is the wrong time of the year to have your worst game of the season and against your hated rival on a national stage. You go out there and you have 4 turnovers. What? 4 turnovers. What? Carol, man, I don't know, man. Like that blew my whole day. Like I said, I didn't even watch the game. I'm listening to the game on the radio, and you can hear the dejection in Larry Michael, Doc Walker, and Chris Cooley towards the end of that game, and it made me mad because I'm just like, this is ridiculous, man. These dudes are just like owning this team, man. Like it was just like not even close.
I mean, it was an avalanche, man. I mean, the defense held up in the first quarter. 3 and outs. Offense couldn't get out of his own way. Then the turnovers happened, and then after that, the momentum swung so much, and Jason Garrett knows enough to run the ball behind the best offensive line in football, even if they are injured. Then it was really nothing they can do. I mean, the Redskins could have swung the momentum, but Jay would have had to pull one out of his ass. And the fact that he was. Once we went down double digit, once he gets down 10 points, the running game just goes out the window. So and I feel like every defensive coordinator knows that if you get Jay down 10, you make him one-dimensional. Because I don't know if folks remember when he first started coaching here, he was screen happy. That man was throwing almost 10, 15 screens a game. But now when he need to use screens, when we have injured linemen and you have a defense that's over. The game is already out of reach. I don't get it. It's like he has no logic. Like he don't get it. It's like he just sitting there like, well, let me call this play. Let me call that play. It's sick. And fire. Just like I think that Mike Shanahan, a proven coach, when he got problems with the offense, they brought in Al Saunders, they brought in this person, that person. Why isn't nobody's going to Jay asking him why they bringing nobody in? Sean McVay, he's the guy to play. Our offense is looking what it is. Why can't Bill Callahan help out with some of the play calling duties?
Man, listen. This team made Jason Garrett look like an idiot savant today. Period. Because you said it earlier, Jason Garrett usually goes on his podium and looks like a complete moron. But he looked like an idiot savant today. That offense clicked when it counted. They ran the ball. Al showed why he is the product of a system, but the system works for him. He had over 100 yards today. Over 100 yards. I can't remember the last running back this year that ran for 100 yards against this defense. I can't remember. Somebody will probably remind me. Somebody will probably correct me, but I don't remember. And out of all people, it was Alfred Morris.
Yeah, I think it was one. I'm trying to think who it was. I think we gave a 100-yard game. I don't even want to try to remember. I think we gave up one so far because we only averaging between. I think we only been averaging like 93 yards given up on the rushing game. So I think we only gave up 100 yards.
Okay, I got corrected. Michael Bowman just said Kareem Hunt, and Short said Zeke did it the first game against the Cowboys. So that's 2 right there.
All right, yeah. But I mean,
but like I said, that's out of 12 games. Out of 12 games, you only had 2 100-yard rushers, now 3. So, I mean, it's just the bottom line was it was a bad game.
Yeah, it's a product of Jay, man. Let me get some more of these comments, man. Like I said, I was going long tonight. I'm letting everybody know I'm not doing the article. I'm not going to sit up till 3 in the morning, putting together an article, editing it, doing everything I do when I'm going to get it all out tonight because it's utterly ridiculous. And the losses is the same thing. Lack of preparation or clock management or bonehead play calls. And as simple as that. Philip says, Cousins earned his money. Jay needs to go do his play calling. Sucks. I felt the run game was good early. We got away from it and went, pass happy. Agreed. Coach talking about.
Hey, Carol, I know you're doing comments, but I wanted to address one thing. I noticed a couple people saying Bruce Allen needs to get fired. I have a retort for that one in the form of a question. Fire Bruce Allen and replace him with who? If you can't, if it takes you longer than 10 seconds to tell me who will replace Bruce Allen as GM of this team, then that's the wrong way to go.
That's
period. That's all I got.
Same thing, man. Same thing when I say about the head coach. You fire who you gonna bring in. Then they're gonna put a new system in. Then that's gonna take 3 or 4 years to get the players that he want, playing the way that he want, playing his system. Then by the time all that happens, the contract's up. Then they're gonna want to roll because they tired of losing. Then you got to start over with the talent aspect again. Then the fans gonna be tired of losing again. And then they're going to want to fire the coach again. You got to end the cycle, man. You got to end the cycle. Coach and Jerry keep on saying Breland is garbage. Okay. I mean, like I say, I love defense. I study defense. I seen what the man can do in man coverage when he gets exposed as a man. And it ain't like he got exposed today. He gave up 2 catches. Y'all act like the man was getting torched all game. I mean, nobody's perfect. This isn't Madden. You don't just hit a button and the player do what he's supposed to do. The other players get paid too. They go to practice too. They've been playing their time to get beat. No corner in the NFL has never been beat before.
Breland played a great game today going up against 88. I mean, granted, Dez only had, coming into this game, 53 catches all season. So he really hasn't been the focal point of this offense. But Breland played a good game against Dez. I'm not even going to front. And I've been a big detractor of Rashad Breland. And I got to even admit that Breland played a good game against a very tough receiver like Dez Bryant.
Yeah, he's been playing tough ball the last 3-4 weeks. I mean, going back to the Seattle game when he was laying the wood to them, and the New Orleans game to the running back, he had 3 solid quality hits in that game that were momentum changes in that game. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but you know that man been playing some good ball. He might make some bad decisions, but what player doesn't make a bad decision now and then? Sometimes at a crucial time, that pass interference, he didn't turn his head. If he'd turn his head, wouldn't have been pass interference. And you know how I feel about the refs and their decision to call certain plays on certain things. We can go back to last week with the penalty that they got that we didn't get when the same thing happened to our receivers. So don't even get me on that, man. The coach see they out there playing hopscotch for conditioning. Yeah, I always say Jay doesn't work players like they should, man. It's crazy. Let's see. Mark says we do got good receivers. I agree. You just got to develop them, man. You got to develop them. We need to stay with running back, get in those drafts. Derek Youth of ISU. All right, I don't really follow college. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what Perrine can do the rest of the season. He was coming off back-to-back 100-yard games before he had the concussion issue in this game out the game. So let's see what we got with him first. We still got Chris Thompson. You know, got Rob Kelly coming back. So always can get another running back, but not going to make it a top draft choice. Definitely can't do that. Phillips said the team is a reflection of the coach. If the coach ain't good, he has to go. Not everyone can lead, and Jay Gruden can't lead. I agree, but as I say, change coaching, you got to get the whole cycle again. And I'm tired of getting on that roller coaster, honestly. I'm tired of him. Offensive and defensive line is where it is at. I guess you're talking about the draft. I agree. We make crucial mistakes at crucial times. Yeah, that goes to preparation and coaching and execution. Lewis said we need a mirror. Yeah, some of the players in there do need a mirror, and damn sure the head coach need a mirror because he obviously not seeing the same thing all of us seeing it. He needs to take some.
No, he has a mirror. He thinks he's the greatest coach around. I'm just saying. Okay.
Yeah, he does. In the arena league, that's where he might need to take his ass back. Let's see. Oh, that was a see about the 150. I said Dan and Bruce will never get a real coach for us because they won't stay out of the way. Honestly, what has Dan Snyder done in the last 5 years to be in the way? Please tell me, besides open his wallet and say, what do y'all need to win? I know when he first got here, he ran the team like a fantasy football team. I get that. I understand that. But that was 1999. It's 2018. Get out the past, people. Stop listening to what these jokers on 106.7, these jokers on NFL Network, they got a problem with him for whatever reason. Y'all need to stop listening to that BS. Because just because they say it don't mean it's so. You got owners out here that don't spend no money. Look at Jacksonville. A couple years ago, they spent $1 billion in salary cap money and ain't signed nobody. They got empty seats.
Classic.
I want to complain because this man opened the wallet and say, what y'all need to win? Ain't won a division title. Ain't $30 million contract. I mean, this market guy, top quarterback. He's at 10,000 yards as a Redskin quarterback already. It's only 7 people on that list. He's number 5 right now. So I feel like, I mean, his market value is he worth that? No, I wouldn't say 30 million, but whatever option he has the leverage. It's called negotiating in the business. He got all the leverage.
People may feel that he's not worth the 30 million, but let me tell y'all something. When the offseason comes around, there are at least 8 to 10 teams that are going to need a starting quarterback and are going to pay him 30 million plus a year to bring him in with pieces and be like, lead us. Just saying.
No doubt. I'm interested to see how it's going to play out because I'm tired of the whole drama. But that's the other thing. This is a quarterback drama town. It goes back to Sonny and Billy back in the 70s. So I'm used to it. I'm just ready for it to be over because I'm tired of it all being in the news. I'm tired of the local media always bringing it up. And I'm damn sure tired of 106.7 talking about it.
I don't even listen to them bad.
I don't either, but, I got folks that listen to them that, hit me up and tell me what they say. And, I still get bits and pieces, but most of them done blocked me on Twitter and Facebook anyway because I didn't call them out. And I basically told them, we can go 4 against 1 on sports knowledge, and I guarantee I take all of y'all out. They blocked me. I guess they know. I guess know the answer to that one. Greg says, I have no worries when they get healthy. Redskins will be a good team, keep building, good offense and defensive line. Agreed. Joe says we need a wide receiver. Well, like I said, I already touched on that. We got to keep developing what we got. Somebody come up in the draft for a free agent next year. So be it. I actually saw somebody talk about if Pierre gets cut from San Francisco, should they bring him back here? No. We don't be recycling players. We got to get younger. And that's what you do. You get younger. Let them go. All of that loyalty stuff is cool, but ain't no need for it. Philip says, so if you don't get rid of the coach, just keep going, get rid of the same results. I'm not saying don't get rid of the coach, but look at Jason Garrett. He used to be offensive coordinator. He fucked that up. Now you got Scott Linehan calling the offense, Rob Merrill defense. They got They can be that dude. Let him stand in and give him credit. Look at cool with that. I just don't want the whole building to go. Make things better. You don't always have to blow things up in order to make it. Greg said need a better return, man. Yeah, Crowder was a top return college, but I think with the added responsibility of being a slot receiver and that is taken away. And I mentioned earlier, he presses, he tries to outrun his coverage sometime when it comes to screens and when it comes to punt returning. So, yeah, we definitely need somebody in that role that can make something happen. It's been a while since we had somebody good in that role.
It sounds like this. I wish B. Mitch was still playing football. I'm just saying.
I mean, B. Mitch was the man. It was a different time. Special teams changed a lot since then. No blocking wedge and all of that stuff. So it's not as simple as it used to be because now with the concussion rules, you can't do certain things and you got to do this and got to do that. And plus, you got to remember the special teams is built of a lot of rookies and, linebackers and linemen that aren't used to having to come down, run down the field and cover. So you have a lot of room to make mistakes, and unfortunately, I thought this would be the year the special teams would take a step forward, and in most aspects, they've taken a step back. Let's see. It's a Ryan character should learn to never rush move. But Michael, tired of them lining up Ryan Kerrigan on the right side all the time. The great pass rushers move around. They line them up over the guard, the center, put them on the left side, put them on the right side. You saw them do that sometimes earlier this year, and he's gotten sacks out of it. But with the injuries, I guess, and with, the way things are, they want to keep some type of consistency and, keep him on that right side. But I definitely agree with that. Yeah, Daryl, I hear the noise. That was probably something going on Ken's side over there. He outside.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go ahead and step off of this joint here, because that way you can keep this going. Because I done said what I got to say. If I got any more to say, I'm gonna be on Sports on the Hill podcast on Monday.
Right.
So y'all make sure y'all listen.
All right, that's the bet. I'm probably about to get off here myself. I got to get to work early myself. I was just going to do an extended post game tonight just because I know I wasn't going to write an article after sitting through that debacle. I didn't want to have to write through it again. But I appreciate Ken for coming on. Joseph said we need help in every department this time with a head coach, offensive coordinator with new offensive playbook. Well, then you do all of that, then you blowing up the whole thing, and then now you're looking at a whole nother 5, 6, 7 year window before you become successful. You can't, I ain't got time for that, man. We did that rebuilding thing all over again. We don't need that again now. Michael said, yeah, he needs to get a spin move or something. I mean, he has one, but he does have a bum shoulder that he's been nursing for the last, 4 weeks. So the spin move isn't really effective because if he gets his shoulder jammed, then he's going to be done for the season. So he probably had to take the spin move out just for that fact. But as I was saying, I'm about to get off of here, man. It's been a good session. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate everybody chiming in. Be sure to tune in Monday night, Sports on the Hill podcast, another full show. We're going to be covering the Caps, the Wizards, this unfortunate loss, and whatever else might come across our desk in the next couple of days, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Appreciate the love and support, all the comments. Appreciate it. Hail to the Redskins as always. Sports on the Hill podcast, True Radio Network, DC Sports Other Politics. Our network is better than yours. We're more than just radio. Remember that. Got some stuff popping off soon. Stay tuned. Love y'all. Appreciate all the love and support. Y'all be easy.